Overpass in front, magnificent Andy. Head wall coming at them. Overpass gone, down the outside, Joker's Grin. He's charging, they hit it. I think he might have got the winning hand.
Welcome to Bet Doctor, behind the curtain look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host Scoot. I'm not Pat Malone, I'm the Lone Ranger here. We've got Walt in Japan, Nico's down in Melbourne. How are you, brother?
Good, thanks, Scoot. Yeah, we're off to Zipping Classic Day at Caulfield this Saturday, so it's a bit different, isn't it? But that's just how the pattern rolls at the moment, coming off pretty much a strip out for everyone at Cranbourne last week. So hopefully Saturday's a bit better for the punters down here in Melbourne.
What's going on? Sandown under reno, or they've just brushed it?
I think it is under a renovation. So we've had a few meetings on the Caulfield Heath track as well midweek. So yeah, I think it is under a reno at the moment, and hopefully comes back sooner rather than later because it's a much better track to bet at than the Heath track. So yeah, wishing it was back in action for the midweeks.
And the Super Sup, GK from our Bris Vegas show just slips into Sydney, and it's probably going to be easier for you, GK. It's hot and stormy. It's diabolical weather in Queensland at the moment. I don't know how they're preparing the tracks, but it was diabolical at Kembla last week. We've got Rosehill. We love it.
Yeah, Rosehill, this is just one of the best betting tracks in Australia. It's perfect. Hot conditions, should just be, game on, up and in, probably the way to go as per usual at Rosehill.
Should be an easy game. Quick look at last week. Gringotts was far too good, so found that one like everyone else. Needed New Endeavour to run second for the Quinella, so he was a nice price, around $4 the place. The misses were Arkansas Kid, big empty out late on the puntingform.com.au data. I'm interested to hear what Nico thinks about that in a second. Mystic Wonder was second in Adelaide. Air Assault, just Jason Holder, I'm not sure what he was doing there. His asset is to be up and on speed, and as soon as he took a hold of it, I knew it was lights out, and Sabaj just picked them off easily. Geez, a smart horse, and just bounced through the gut buster at Flemington, no dramas. So the sky's the limit for that horse. But Arkansas Kid, Nico, his last 200, he loomed up as if he was going to go straight past, and emptied right out. I thought he might have had a bleed, or I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, looking him in the yard, back to him obviously before that, and when he walked into the yard, I thought, you're set to peak for the Supernova, which I think's in 2 or 3 weeks at Pakenham, which is sort of another slot race. He's going to take on Private Eye. He won that race last year, so it did. He ran well in that race last year, so it did seem like they just may be setting him for that grand final, maybe a length or two improvement does come for that. But Air Assault was a tough watch for those on, given how the map sort of worked out there. So happy to put Cranbourne in the rearview mirror, I think a lot of people after Saturday.
That's exactly right. And Watch Me Rock was too good. So doubt Willie Pike at your peril. Lesson learnt for me. Speaking of Perth, we've got the Winterbottom hosted pot on Saturday. It's going to be an epic. You have to battle through. It's going to be midday till about 8 o'clock. It's going to be a cracker. So I'll be betting Caulfield, Doomben, Rosehill, and a lot of action around Ascot. I've got through the Winterbottom, and then I'll start to pick apart the rest of the card there. So I've got a fair few troops that love Perth racing, and hopefully can just roll on from the back end of that spring carnival. Started to get some real momentum, and a couple of good fill-ups for the punters that followed the Bet Doctor and the Birdie TV Mates Mode area. So make sure you get involved there, and I've already sent through a tip for Friday. I found at Oakfield Wallaby in about I think it's race 3, 4 or 5 T Berry for Chris Lees. Looks like it's perfect there at Canterbury on Friday night. So there's plenty of tips, plenty of action there, and good discussion. So it'll be on for young and old all day on Saturday. We've also got the Bris Vegas show on Fridays every day until Magic Million. So make sure you check that out. It's been tricky there with all this stormy weather, but I think it's going to improve. There's only, I think, 6 mil forecast during the meeting at Doomben, and it's just hot. So it's like an oven outside at the moment. So it will be drying. Caulfield have got 9 mil pre-Saturday, then 13 mil on race day. So that's going to make things tricky there. Morphettville's got 3 mil coming into Saturday. But then clear on the day. Rosehill's clear, so that's easy for GK. And then Ascot clear, and not much wind around there as well, which is good. Today's show is going to be a cracker. We've got Zipping Classic, as Nico alluded to, races 5, 7 and 8. And GK is going to have a look at the Starlight and the Festival, the 2 features, while Walt's in Japan. And then I'm going to have a look at the Winterbottom. And then Shane ADAIR, he's FIFO this week, but he's found a couple of really interesting races. And I'm going to throw the markets up and the replays because I think he's uncovered a couple of must bets here and some pretty good value. Race 2 is the first one. Tobacco is the favourite, $4. So Polite, $5.50. Barty Grub, $6.50. Pretty Perky's been 15 into 9. Stranded, $10. Loyalty Reigns, $12. And the replay we're going to have a look at here is Barty Grub in the red and white, and sort of stuck in behind the leader, Too Darn Crystal, and it did well to sort of come across heels and get past that leading horse. But there's a Stokes runner that just goes whoosh and goes straight past them, and it's none other than Ferrivia. And we saw some of the damage that it done out in Melbourne from that. So I didn't mind the debut performance here from Barty Grub. I'm not sure if you've had a look at the race, Nico, but it just gives me an indication that there's something there, and it could be a little bit hidden, that one, because they didn't run any special time, but I just liked its action, liked the way it sort of dug in and got across and sort of kept chasing.
Yeah, that can happen. I think Murray Bridge is a bit like Pakenham. Sometimes you get the times out of there and they're just no good. So I don't know if you'd read too much sort of into that, but for the Ferrivia form line looks good, and Tobacco has sort of shown a bit in some trials, but it has been 310 out to 440 back into 4. So the trial watchers haven't really absolutely steamed in there. So maybe that is a sign that the wide draw, they're looking a little bit around that, and maybe it opens it up a little bit for a horse with some good form line. Chasing Ferrivia is pretty good form for Adelaide.
GK, any thoughts there with Barty Grub? Funny name.
No, I mean, obviously, as Nico said, the Ferrivia form line just draws you in straight away. As someone who never does SA racing, and doesn't bet and doesn't watch South Australian racing, I have no clue here. But I am interested in some of the market moves here. I see there's one that's sort of 50s into 10s here. So, they seem to be betting around the early favourite. So, that suggests there's probably angles here.
Oh, it's $6.50 seems like an appealing price for me for Barty Grub, so I've already stepped into that one. Bagman's other tip here is race 8, number 7, and reminder, we are on the Parks track, so you sort of want to be in the firing line as well. And Beautiful Jewel is favourite, 1550 metre event, this one, $4.20, Wild Winner $6, Fillets $6.50, I Catch 'em Fox $6.50, and then you got Full of Courage $10, Crown Mint $12, and we'll have a look at the replay. And was a real eye catcher here in the Australia colours, and she sort of reverse parked it, and Wild Winner's the horse with the big baldy face, and didn't look like it was going to win at any stage until probably the 100, and it was a complete slaughter, in all honesty, to put my John Walter hat on, and just love the way it sort of picks up late again here, and now gets barrier 4, and I don't think this is any tougher, and I think the 1550 will be right up this horse's alley. As a type, it looks like a cracking type, and I'll definitely be steaming into that one as well. So he's found a couple of value plays, so sort of around the $6 mark at Ladbrokes. They've already bet 7, and I think it's a good way to play. Beautiful Jules one we've backed before, but it's drawn barrier 14. So 2 nice little each-way plays there on the Parks track. Hopefully they get put into the race, and they both should be hitting the line. Let's have a look at Caulfield, Nico, with that menacing, weather report and the rail +9. Cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I think it just depends how much rain they get Saturday. So today, probably not much. Friday, 10 to 20 mils predicted. If they got 20, well, that would have a huge impact. And then it's sort of 1 to 5 Saturday, and it's mainly in the morning. So, yeah, it's at the end of sort of a long spring for Caulfield as well. So the track's probably not as good, say, if we got this at the start of October or something like that. So, it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. I think maybe looking for horses that can get to those middle lanes is probably going to be advantage on Saturday. So that's how I sort of looked at it. Maybe a slight penalty, those horses drawn inside.
Let's have a look at race 5. This is your first one. It's the Whispering Angel Melbourne Classic over 2,000 metres. Different Gravy's favourite here, 240. One of GK's, Loves Childs here is Call Da Vinci, $5, Kaleo, $6, Brave Dancer, $8.50, Snit Sonic, $11, Gold Topaz, $11, and then you got Zentorno, 16 of the chances. The replay you're going to have a look at here, Nico, is Different Gravy, and Mark Zara's got the ride.
Yeah, I sort of went looking to poke holes in this horse, and there is a few unlucky runs in behind him here, but he just absolutely brains them. And I just think he's improving with every run. Mark Zara went aboard. He seemed to get a lot out of the horse. 2,000 metres there on Saturday. Like, he's probably a horse they could have nearly pushed him to go towards the Derby, but they held him back for that race there on Cup Day. Like, that's a pretty effortless win in the end. And then he struck a very similar field here. Call Da Vinci was a bit unlucky last start in the Sandown Guineas. He definitely should have run second, I should have thought, but now he's got to step up to 2,000 metres. I thought there was only really two chances in the race, those two. Zentorno was a bit unlucky in that replay in the red cap with the black, but he's got to sort of make up a few lengths as well. Even if he did sort of get out, he might have run third or fourth. So I just thought Different Gravy should be well into the red here. Like, there doesn't really seem any chinks for mine. And this is sort of a new race, a $400,000 essentially class one for the 3-year-olds. But I think it's a race that's really going to suit him, just sort of balance up. Best rider in the race. We saw what he did last start when he's got out over a trip, got a good platform. Yeah, I sort of didn't think there was too many folds here. And the early market was sort of trending towards him maybe starting in the red. And then I thought, I could tip this on the show and it's $1.70 come tomorrow morning. But I was surprised to see $2.40 there. So I'm going to take a bit of that $2.40 and then maybe go again late, see what the price does there. But I just thought he'd win here, to be honest.
I saw some $2.60 and could have been my imagination or a dream from last night, but I even thought I saw $2.70 at one stage. So I'm with you, Nico. He's bred to absolutely eat it. And Call Da Vinci, I know GK's captain of the cheer squad, but 2,000 metres, I know he'll like the wet track GK, but I suspect that could be real out of limit.
Yeah, like I've always thought mile was the trip for this thing. Like it's kind of like just this breed as well, like under the loop. Like I find like the mile is the trip for them, like more often than not. Yeah, wet track, absolutely no issue. I haven't done this race, but I know this horse very well. I guess my read on its preparation is that the first up run wasn't a very good platform for second up. So I think that if I remember correctly, that second up run, they went really quick. And he was kind of undone there with a terrible platform. Then obviously last start, very unlucky, should have run second in a strong race behind a star. Yeah, 2,000 metres is the question. Wet track, absolutely no issues. So look, probably you'd expect it to improve. I don't know much about the favourite, so I can't really comment on the how it stacks up against it though.
Yeah, I think I agree in terms of preparation. I think the Lambings just missed a trick. I think they went too high a grade and then went straight to that 1,600. I think there was a bit of a gimme, or there was a 1,400 metre lower listed event on Cup Day, but they went to the Panova race, which was complete error. So, yeah, I'd say even 1,400 for Call Da Vinci now that he's a 3-year-old was probably more up his alley. So, yeah, I'm happy to rubber stamp this Different Gravy, and it's just a luxury to have Zara in this. We'll call it off season, but it just doesn't feel like the season's ending. But I think he's a great bet, and $2.40. I'll be surprised if he doesn't keep getting hammered in the market. Let's have a look at the Eclipse race 7. It's the Henley Holmes Group 3 over 1,800 metres. Kingswood is the favourite here at $3.40. Poison Chalice $3.60. Detonator Jack $4.20. Casino 17 at $8.50. Rumbled Again $15. Fortune $15. And you got Jenny's Meadow and Precious Charm rounding out the rougher chances there. Let's have a look at the replays. There's two. So we'll have a look at Detonator Jack first and Kingswood. I was on Detonator Jack here, Nico, and Poison Chalice was heavily backed this day out wide.
Yeah, and it was a much better day to be out wide too. Detonator Jack flying up the inside. So I probably would say it was in inferior ground. Apulia wins the race. You got Inzudo there in 4th, who's come out and run really well in the Cranbourne Cup. New Endeavour in the blue hit the line strongly, ran well last weekend, and even Rumbled Again's won out of the race. So I think it's a strong form reference. Apulia is going to go that railway and be right at, or the Kingston Town or the Northerly, whatever they call it now, and be right in play. So yeah, I think it's a strong form reference. And Poison Chalice was good there. He's sort of going to be one that's warming up late here. But I thought if they get the worst side of the forecast, it's definitely advantage Detonator Jack. Kingswood, he sort of doesn't have a whole lot of exposure to wet ground. I was on him this day. Thought he looked exceptional in the yard. I think this is a weaker race than what the other two come out of. St. George ran well in a Seymour Cup. But aside from them, they sort of clear out and put a bit of a gap on the rest of the Mathanatos. Didn't run up to his best. So I didn't really have any knocks Kingswood on how he's going. I just think if we're sort of dealing with a track that's a little bit chopped up, you want to get towards the middle. I think Detonator Jack's got a real opportunity to do that. And I still sort of feel like he's peaking at the right time. He had a few runs this campaign where he just sort of was out the back and doing nothing. And then last start, he really did something. Ethan Brown seemed to click with him. And if we're on the worst side of maybe a soft track, he's definitely going to be most advantaged to that ground. So he hasn't won for a while, but I thought Saturday he just might get a few things in his favour with Kingswood and Poison Chalice potentially not being as adept in him in the ground.
Yeah, I'll probably have to chase my money now if you're on him. But I've got a fair bit of respect for Kingswood. I think he's got a lot of ability, but just has a couple of issues. Any interest to play in this one, GK, in the Eclipse?
Yeah, I'm kind of welded to Detonator Jack as well, and have been for the 735 days since its last win. So it's it owes me a lot. There was just a really encouraging run last start, and the wet track, just huge double tick for me. So look, if I was betting in the race, I think I'd probably back Detonator Jack, but I'll let that decision be made on Saturday.
Caulfield Race 8 is the next one. It's the Big Screen Company Group 2 Zipping Classic, 2,400 metres. So it's a replica of the Caulfield Cup. She's a Hustler, $3.20 favourite. Light Infantryman, $4.50. Alicante is $5. Covalika, $8.50. Etna Rossa, $9.50. Berkshire Breeze, $11. Then you got Smoke and Romans, $26 off the Melbourne Cup. And then you got Alan Kerr. Thought the key form reference here was the She's a Hustler and Alicante's form line, and this is the day that it was a complete slog, and Sunset Park just got away with it here, Nico.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people probably thought Alicante's was maybe going to get that run, which Sunset Park did, and it was hard to make ground in these staying races at Flemington on this day, and I thought given Alicante's was only sort of second up here, I thought she ran really well, still attacking the line. Like, She's a Hustler's been, a model of consistency all spring. She does have to rise to 2,400 metres, whereas Alicante is going to sort of handle that distance rise. And when you look through her ratings, if she was to rate to her best, it'd probably be no betting if she can do that. So, look, I thought She's a Hustler was a little bit of a risk here, in all honesty. I know she'll get a nice run, but she is first go at 2,400 metres, and there's just two horses here that I think are really sort of, A, maybe looking for the trip, and B, better horses. So Alicante is definitely one of those. I think third up, rolls along, or second up here, rolls along on speed. She should really give a bold sight. And as I said, if she ran up to some of her best ratings, well, you'd have her clear favourite. So I think $5 is pretty generous her there. And Light Infantryman, I thought, given he bombed the start in the Champion Stakes, he was pretty good late. He was one that was really making some late ground. The Cox Plate run, he was probably disadvantaged by the real mid-race slowdown, but I still think he ran well. He's sort of shown signs of life his last two, and they're pretty strong form references for a zipping classic when the favourite's coming out of a matriarch beaten by Sunset Park, who looked like a benchmark 78 horse prior to that. So I sort of thought you could nearly back both of them here to beat She's a Hustler. I don't think the race bats much deeper than that, but yeah, Light Infantryman and Alicante's really interested me.
GK, thoughts?
I probably would have the same view. I think I'd probably stay out of this race, though. I haven't done it. I agree that She's a Hustler looks at risk up in trip. So, we know that the trip is no problem for those other two. So, look, I'd be in the same camp as Nico, but no betting for me.
I black booked Alicante's from the Chairman's and sort of pegged her as a Caulfield Cup chance, and then she's gone to the Sydney Cup and put on that frantic pace. I think they went about 17 above to the 600 with River of Stars, and Arapaho ended up winning the race, and she just sort of conked out and blew herself up. And then I thought she was okay with 61 kilos at Wyong. Then she's been off the scene for 2 months, and then I'm sort of treating that matriarch run as a first up performance, and it was a heavy 8. And I thought Tim was really kind to her and just sort of snagged her back and didn't lead and sort of changed tactics completely. And I thought that was just a pipe opener. And if that was a pipe opener and she's only been beaten 5 and only a few lengths behind She's a Hustler, I thought I sort of had a favourite. I thought Alicante's was the clear horse to beat. I think Craig Williams is a perfect rider for her, and I think she'll take holding out. Like I had her pegged as a possible Caulfield Cup sort of favourite, and I just think this is the perfect recipe for her.
I think if it's that kind of race, like if conditions come into it, like she's very good on the soft ground as well when you look through a wet track record. So she sort of seems a little bit bomb-proof here, doesn't she? She's going to be near the speed. You think she'd maybe have a tactical advantage on She's a Hustler, and I think it's just whether Light Infantryman can sort of run her down. That's how I sort of viewed it.
Yeah, barrier 4, Craig Williams. Hopefully just racks and stacks and we get the cash. But $5 more than fair, and looks like it's just a set play from the Gaybolt yard, and nice little pope note. Who knows? And well, I think we could probably still see her in the big races next season for sure. She's only a 6-year-old mare, and we saw Goody Two Shoes run a big race in the Melbourne Cup as well. Nico, you've got a couple of meetings coming up for your yard. You were a little bit stiff last night with the Launceston bet. Got beaten in the shadows of the post.
Anyway, we're off to Mornington today, right after the show, and then Caulfield Saturday, ready to rip in there. So I think it's a pretty good meeting. It's just going to be very dependent on the conditions on the day. So not going to be betting up too much early, and going to be really relying on the sort of the late conditions, and I think that's probably the best guide there for Saturday.
Outstanding stuff. Make sure you get around Nico's yard on Twitter. And let's have a look at Rosehill. The weather looks okay. A little bit of rain around, but it should clear. And let's have a look at race 7, which is the Toyota Forklift listed Starlight Stakes over 1100. Zealous is the favourite here, $4.40. Front page $6. Flying for Fun $6.50. Little Deep $7. Grand Larceny $7. Ouroboros $9.50, and then you got Imperial Force $13, Zazu $17, but nominated for Brisbane and probably likely to go that way, I've been told. Interesting little 1100 metre race here, and here's front page in the Kosciuszko GK, Chestnut with the white and the fluoro sleeves, and just gets overhauled late by Clear Thinking once it gets clear air.
Yeah, I thought this was a good run. Obviously, they attacked front page. It was giving all of them weight, like it has to do in a lot of these races. And I think the most encouraging thing here is obviously, they went out well above standard, and then all the others that were on speed with it, ended up out the back. It was the one that was last man standing, so to speak, and then the closers, grabbed it in the last 100 where it was probably a little bit weak through the line. So I don't mind the step back to 1100. Like, I know its best races have probably been at 1200, but I think this works well. Obviously, there's a lot of tempo in this race. Ouroboros staying in Brisbane probably helps front page even more, because then you're probably left with front page, Zealously, maybe Bandy's Boy, and a couple of roughies might head forward. But where front page is drawn, I think it's probably going to get control, and it's probably going to hold the rail, which probably is going to be a pretty good advantage at Rosehill by that time of the day, on a pretty firm track. So, look, for me, I think front page has to be the starting point. I know, we're heading towards age 487 for this horse, but he still just keeps turning up, right? Like, what a champion for the owners this thing has been. So, well done to them. I think front page should be the favourite, personally. I think it has to be the starting point, but, there are dangers in the race. I'm not surprised that Zealously has been drifting since markets opened.
Yeah, I thought one of the dangers was Flying for Fun. I was surprised, but not surprised that Bryce sort of threw her in the deep end in the champion sprint. Must have been thinking that she was a bit of a wet tracker. So that's not the replay that we're showing here, but I think Walt and I back to this day at around the sort of the $9 or $11 mark, and she just gets picked off by New York Luster here. And I think 1100 metres Rosehill is right up this horse's alley, and it's drawn too. So I think it's an easy race to have a 2-bet play. I think front page's best distance is 1100. If he gets control, he's going to be awfully hard to beat. And I just thought the horse that might just put its bib out late could be Flying for Fun, drawn 2. Zach Lloyd knows the horse, ridden it in a couple of trials and rides a little bit off a few times for Bryce as well. And if you want to put a line through some of the Zealously form 3 starts ago, this horse Flying for Fun should have beaten it a couple of starts back. So way easier opposition than Giga Kick, Magic Time and Jolly Star last time on that heavy 9, and beaten 4 lengths on a day like that is no real negative in my mind. And back to the Sydney way going's another big tick. So I think that's the race, front page, and Flying for Fun, just a nice easy 2-bet strategy, one up front and then a closer if they overcook it, because she does have a lethal turn of foot. You had a look at this one, Nico?
Yeah, I sort of had a brief look at it, and because you got Grand Larceny still down to run in Melbourne, and when you adjust his ratings for the weights he's going to carry, I think that's why he's probably so short in both races. He's been 11 to 650 here. He's been backed in Melbourne as well. So it's just whether you can probably hold that coming off a heavy 9 track last start. There is one mare here who's a gun fresh. She's unbeaten first up, a little deep, and she draws barrier 1. She'll come into the yard looking as fat as a house, and you'll think she'll need the run, and she'll come out and win. That's pretty much what she's done her whole career. So when she carries that good condition, she races well, and I'd expect on Saturday, if she gets a few things in her favour, she might be thereabouts as well. But front page did stick out a little bit in terms of class. If you can replicate, even half towards his best, he's probably hard to run down here.
Yeah, and she meets him 3 kilos or 2.5 kilos better for their last time meeting in the Morton Cup. So not a bad little angle there, and she's had 3 trials.
She's got under my guard way too many times. First up to not be having something on her here, given she's 4 for 4. So she just might get the PR, I thought.
I think there's one other knockout hope, which is Zazu, and it's nommed for Brisbane as well. Like I loved that last run from Zazu, and look, Patton may be against, but if they do overdo it and they're running on, Zazu, I think it probably will be steaming. Like I think if they go to Brisbane, I think it's an auto bet job. Obviously much harder here, but I think look, it is a danger. Would definitely be going at my quaddy.
Just having a look at Kieran hasn't nominated a jockey for Doomben. I desperately wanted to go to Doomben.
So do I.
They're now betting 550, which I think is an absolute gift. So fingers crossed, and I guess more will be revealed about that race on our Bris Vegas show tomorrow. But yeah, nice little level of confidence for that race. So let's kick on to race 8, which is the Catani Stone Group 3 Festival Stakes over 1,500. Yorkshire's a favourite here at Ladbrokes, $3.10, accredited $9, Arctic Glamour 10, Waterford 11, Robusto 12, Zadaki 13, Shadizi 14, you got Magnetar 18. Some of these horses just keep going around and around. You got McHale 21, Paul Lockroy, and a big tail to this one. Let's have a look at this horse, Yorkshire. This is last time this track and trip, and Sandpaper's the leader here, which was flying at the time, and Yorkshire was 3 pairs back and then just got to the outside. It's in the blue cap here, so a couple of similar colours there, but just love the way it extends, and this is 1,500. Could be a different scenario here, GK, as there's not much speed. It's drawn inside. Could get full control, and I'll put the replay up of last time, which was a forgive, but wow, the amount of money that was for the horse last start, and here he is sort of bobbing up and down in the white cap in the Coal Crusher race with accredited, all the the similar form lines. He's just gone and missed there.
It's had cardiac arrhythmia, so you just completely forgive that. Look, I thought they overdid it with the betting first up here because just of the way Newcastle plays, and you can see in the replay there, it really played up and in, and I think it was pretty much rails and run the whole day where, on that replay, you had Coal Crusher, accredited, and even Safrado from up here were all rails and run, and they were sort of, right there in the finish. And then there were a couple others there that were one-off, like Robusto, who was sort of whacking away. Look, I thought some of those had some favours there, like accredited probably had some favours there, rails and run. Robusto, I don't think that was necessarily the right trip for it or right race for it. This will suit more up and trip to 1,500, drawn low. Like I presume they roll forward with Robusto. But I think if you look at the trial and you dig into the form and, you get a sense of what they're really targeting with Yorkshire. Like, they want to win the Ingham to get into the Doncaster. That's the plan. They've stated it publicly. So this is a really important race now after coming off cardiac arrhythmia. They really need to see something from this horse. I think it's a deserved favourite. I think you get pretty much everything you want here. Like I can see them just tracking up behind the speed, probably behind leaders, and then just, popping off heels at the 400 and, looking for clear air. And I just think it's going to be incredibly hard to beat. I have it clear favourite. There's other dangers in the race. Waterford loves this track and trip, but, where's it going to get to? And that's the problem for a lot of the dangers. Like, they've all drawn so poorly. Like, accredited's drawn, 12. So I guess they roll forward. So it's probably going to be in an okay spot. But then you've got others like Shadizi, Arctic Glamour, Mikhail. They're potential knockouts, but like they're going to be giving Yorkshire a huge start and coming off a more difficult run. So I just think Yorkshire is obvious, picks itself, and if it turns up, I think it wins.
There's just so many queries with so many of these runners. just half. I agree. Like there's half chances. Like Zadaki could be back, needs to be back. Shadizi can win. Really funny setup back in trip. Needs a really cunning ride. Konasana needs a wetter track. Accredited, they just have to roll the dice and sort of push the button. Waterford went amazing. Maybe it was just the wet track that sort of found him out. But again, drawn 16, where do you go there? And then Timmy on Robusto looks suitable. But again, there's just so much speed on. Like it's got the recipe of a car crash, so I can easily see why you want to back Yorkshire. We'll just get the suck run, and then if he gets the gap, and you just ignore the cardiac arrhythmia, he's got the killer blow in his arsenal. Nico, have you had a look at this race, or do you dare take it on, or is it too much of a headache?
No, I did have a look at it. Like you'd love probably a better price, Yorkshire, given just what happened there first up and the few little queries around that. They can just bounce back out of it straight away. Cardiac arrhythmia is not really a big deal, but like most horses after the race sort of get some degree of it. It's just how bad. So yeah, it's probably not the biggest deal, but yeah, they're sort of marketing close towards his best, aren't they? So he may be at that. I thought Shadizi is a bit of a knockout chance. I just think he's coming through the right races and he hasn't had a lot of luck in them. And there's obviously ability there, and I think he has enough ability to win this race. So we've been on in these last few, but I'm happy to sort of stick fat there, very small in what looks a pretty tricky race tomorrow.
I tell you what, the people that didn't pull up too well were the punters that steamed him from $9 into $3.30 off that flashy trial. So the old cardiac arrhythmia, it'd be hard. A couple of those people that have steamed in first up might be a little bit gun shy, but should be a great race. It'll be a cracking spectacle, and there'll be lots of form sort of spear out of it. So I'm interested to see what happens. Marymount Bull is probably the other horse that could be a knockout. She's got a devastating finish when she's right, but again, she just needs to get a good ride. But Reese Jones could be the man to do it there. So make sure you go a little bit wide. Maybe have a skinny quaddie for with Yorkshire Plonk, and then perhaps a little bit of a wider one in case things just don't work out for him, and maybe he'll peak next time. All right, that's the Sydney wrap. Sans Walt. Let's have a quick look at the Winterbottom over in Perth. And market, thanks to Ladbrokes, is Overpass, equal favourite, 260 with Joker's Grin. Luana Miss 850. Ray Magnerio is an interesting one, 1,200 metres. Not sure. $9. Rope them in 11. Benedetta 16. A little bit of a forgotten horse there. And then you got Oscar's Fortune 18. And then you got Libertad 27. I thought the two key lead-ups here were Overpass in the Everest, and this is him just outside leader here, and takes a pretty good one to run past him in Kaying Rising, who we've seen come out and just blow them away in honkers. But all the form here is good with Jimmy Starr, Jolie Star, and the Good Godolphin filly just savaging the line in and around them. Angel Capital's there, so there's no discounting how good that form is, and he's only sort of pulled up in the last sort of 25 or 50 metres there Overpass. But Joker's Grin, I think, is going every bit as good as he was last time in his lead up into the Quokka, and he's changed colours and he scouts pretty wide there in the blue with the yellow and the white. And I know he's not really beating much here, but you can only sort of beat what's put in front of you, and Oscar's Fortune sort of bursts in and he makes a big run at him, but he's just got too much momentum, this sort of big horse, and O'Donnell was on him that day. He gets his regular rider Carberry, which I think that's what you're betting on here with Joker's Grin. How will Carberry ride this horse, and how much start will he give Overpass? And if you go back to April in the Quokka, you've got Overpass, who perhaps wasn't going as well. You've got him just sort of pushing out at the start, leads, has to sort of use him early, I guess, which is probably pertinent because now he's going to jump from barrier 2. And you've got Joker's Grin in different colours here. He's in the red with the white. So have a look at him. Carberry sort of just still got him in a like a half Nelson, second last. And this win, in my opinion, was absolutely breathtaking. Joker's Grin, and he only really came onto my radar, I guess, then. But wow, it wasn't the best of rides, and I think the smaller field here really helps Joker's Grin. But gee, GK, he just looks so effortless, Joker's Grin. I can't wait to see him at Randwick or a bigger track or over on the eastern states. Like, what is he, 20 wide there, 15 wide? This is a ridiculous win, GK.
Yeah, it was absolutely insane. And, especially because I thought it had none in this race. And I was on every horse from the Eastern Seaboard. Like I'd steamed Headwall and, to get nutted on the line. Um, I took a futures price, as I generally do, on Overpass, I think 2 weeks ago in this race, and it was $4. And I thought it's a complete moral, and it was $4. And now I want to completely switch sides. And that win last night at Joker's Green, I just thought it was unreal. Like, I think Joker's Green should be favourite. I think the small field is a huge advantage. And look, it'll be interesting if they do come over, which I think that's the plan, how it translates. It just seems like the perfect Ascot sprinter. And it's something about that turn at Ascot and the way to navigate that turn and sprint off it, where this thing just seems to just, absolutely explode off the turn. So, I don't think it really matters how they ride Overpass here, because, whether they try to rack and stack them, or they go quick or whatever, he's just going to sit off them. And just the final 200 meters, this horse is just unbelievable. So, look, I think Joker's Green should be the favourite. I'm definitely leaning back on it. Look, if I hadn't bet in the race before now, I'd back Joker's Green.
Yeah, I'd mark him slight favourite, but as I said earlier, I think you're betting on whether Carberry carves the horse up completely. I think it's just pilot error, and I'll be fascinated to see who pilots this horse when they bring it into the serious races and sort of what happens next. What's your thoughts on these two horses, Nico? Because Overpass is going as good as he ever has, and I think he's going better than he was in that quokka.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair commentary. And Overpass, he's got a very good record over in Perth. You take out that quokka run, so he's going to get a lot in his favour here. There's not a lot of speed in this race. Maybe it's just him, Oscar's Fortune. Maybe Libertad rolls forward as well. And then I think it is really a case of, if Joker's Green is 5 lengths off him, not 10 like they've met before, does he run him down easier? Potentially. So, yeah, I thought there was a real case you made that you could really get involved here, Joker's Grin. But I've taken Overpass on in a few of these Perth sprints, and he's burnt me. And, well, he hasn't burnt me. I've burnt myself. He's got the better of me. So I'm a little bit gun shy to take him on again. But, yeah, Joker's Grin he just has that style of a very good horse, doesn't he? So I think it's pretty even. Overpass gets every favour. Joker's Grin may be a better horse in time.
Anything for Ray Magneria or Benedetta? Can you make any case at all?
I don't know if Ray Magneria is a 1,200 metre horse, to be completely honest. I think he's a little bit better over maybe 1,100, and he's pretty low percentage. He needs a lot to go right. There's every chance he's behind Joker's Grin in the run. So for mine, he's unlikely to run him down. And Benedetta, she's a good B grader, but I'm not sure she's going at her absolute best either.
Yeah. All right.
I maybe a bit of a hot take, but I actually, obviously there's form everywhere and it's like the best sprint race or whatever, but I actually don't think the Everest was that good. Like in terms of like data and sectionals. Like look at it. They went out below standard. It's actually become a kind of common occurrence with the Everest that the hype doesn't match up to the data. And I think we've seen that again this year. Kalying Rising was at about 65% and flogged them.
Wasn't it even a little bit to advantage to sort of be up and in the firing line? So he could be a little bit flattered by that as well. Perhaps Overpass.
Yep.
Yeah. That's it. I know I've said that Overpass is going better than it was last time in the quokka, but that's the scary part about Joker's Grin. He is definitely going better than he was, and that win was just just absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, it's going to be a nice little cherry on top for a long day post carnival. So make sure you jump into the Ladbrokes Mates Mode pot and get cracking with us. Going to have a fair few bets across the day, and I've got plenty of time to sort of pace myself, and I'll be leaning on these boys a lot throughout the day. So it's going to be a great day on Saturday, and it's a lot more palatable card than what we got dished up at Kembla and Cranbourne. So I'm pretty excited by pure luck that I've been able to do a Mates Mode pot for this Saturday. Good luck on the weekend, Nico. Good luck at Mornington, and also good luck for Caulfield. Make sure you get around Nico's yard, and then if you want to harass GK, you just go to Brizzy Form Guide on Twitter and beg and plead that you can jump into his Discord channel. So it's good fun in there, and we'll be back tomorrow for more of the Bris Vegas show, and it'll be the same crew for next Thursday for the never-ending carnival. So big thanks to Ladbrokes and Punting Form, and good luck on the punt, and make sure you gamble responsibly because it's a long game. We'll see you next week.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.